Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you, and we're about to kick off a new season of San Francisco 49er football. We are the Monday night game, and we might be the late game on the West Coast. I think most people are thinking about Philadelphia versus Atlanta, which is going to be kicking off on the East Coast 3 hours earlier. 7 o'clock for those on the East, 4 o'clock for those on the West. That's an early game, and it's going to be a lot of fun having two games on a Monday night. It really makes this weekend feel special of football. The Niners really didn't live up to as good as they should have been last year. I know that I will honestly put them on a pedestal, saying that I picked them as the year to win the Super Bowl, that we were finally on the chase and we were going to finally put it over the hump. One thing leads to another, whether if it was Jim Harbaugh fighting with management, whether if it was injuries all around the team, or just not being as good as the Seattle Seahawks. The 49ers finished at 8-8. And I'm not 100% sure that we're going to be a better team than what we were last year. If you think about the 49ers losing Patrick Willis, Anthony Davis, and Chris Borland, as well as Justin Smith, four big pieces of the pie for the 49ers. That's basically two linebackers, a defensive lineman, and an offensive lineman there. All forced to retire. Aldon Smith was basically cut from the team after his hit-and-run drunken driving episode in August. He is playing for the Oakland Raiders today. He didn't have the best game out there today, but those are big hits all around, as well as you look at the free agency losses of Frank Gore leaving us to go to the Indianapolis Colts, who honestly didn't have that great of a game today, and then Mike Ippitai, who left us to go to the Arizona Cardinals, who is going to be a great piece to their line and building a great team down there in Arizona. But the Niners, we're still left with Colin Kaepernick. We still have Antoine Bolden, Torrey Smith, Vernon Davis for wide receivers. But if you think about how stacked we were with weapons for Kaepernick to throw to, now here we are sitting on a weaker line, a less experienced backfield. Last year we were looking at Crabtree, Bolden, Stevie Johnson. Bolden was still there. And then we also had that guy who used to play for us, who finally made his return to the Niners, and we couldn't pass the ball to save our lives. We're going to have those weapons out there. Carlos Hyde and Reggie Bush are going to be in the backfield. Lots of talk about Hyde coming over and trying to transition from a rugby player to a football player. And I'm not sure how much we're actually going to see of this guy. I thought that it was a lock that he was going to make the team this year, but it seems like it was a last-minute decision to put him out there. He had a very good offseason. Lots of people are going to talk about the fact that he was one of the leaders in rushing for the NFL in the preseason. But the preseason is the preseason. Lots of talk about him not really knowing how to block in the backfield. And you can't really have the unexperienced guy out there every time you're going to put him in. And he's not going to be able to block for the passer. The other team is going to be immediately saying, all right, run defense, let's set up, let's not let this guy beat us. On the defensive side of the game, the Niners are going to have a resurgence with Navarro Bowman making his return from his brutal knee injury in the NFC Championship game back in 2014 against the Seattle Seahawks. It was one of the ceiling moments of that game that really put the Niners on the map. Even though they didn't win that game, they showed a lot of heart. A lot of people even say on that play the Niners got hosed and that there was some sort of conspiracy against us. I will also say that the Seahawks had a great team. The Niners had a great team, but on that day, I don't believe that the fix was in from the NFL. I think that we just got beat. It sucked, and I thought that we built ourselves up to come back the next year, and we just weren't able to do it because the Seahawks were even stronger than they were the year before. But Bowman has made his return. He returned during the Broncos game during the preseason. He was all kinds of fired up. He only had a few plays in that game, but he was able to make it to that Bronco offensive line and sack Peyton Manning twice. That's a big deal. I don't know if maybe the Broncos weren't ready for somebody all hyped up like that. The lines don't really move all that much during the preseason. for the matter. They just don't really want to get anybody hurt. But the Niners were able to, shock the system and show us that, that Bowman's going to be at 100% this year. Now, when we look at what the Vikings got going on, you got Adrian Peterson making his return to the team, and the offseason troubles we don't really need to go into with the charges that were filed against them. I don't know if they went through or if they were dropped, or one thing leads to another. It was a shocking, sad situation to have to think about something like that with an NFL star like Adrian Peterson, one of the best running backs there is in the game. I don't know if this happened during the preseason or if he actually got a game under his belt before he was suspended, but one thing leads to another. He had to fight his case, and he finally got reinstated. He even tried to get away from the Vikings. I think he ended up at the end of the day signing a contract extension with them, so I guess he's going to be there for a little bit longer. The Vikings held their own last year. I believe they finished at 7-9, but with Teddy Bridgewater taking over after Matt Castle got hurt, and only with Azista in the backfield, who I thought was a pretty good back, but he just isn't Adrian Peterson. People are really fired up about the Vikings, with a lot of people thinking that they can make the playoffs as one of the wild card spots, and they're going to be a team to watch. Bridgewater really lifted up this Viking team, and having Peterson in the backfield, even though he's a year older, he didn't play last year, so you would think that those are fresh legs underneath them, and this could be a really good football team. When it came down to it, the Vikings were only slight favorites in this game, but my heart wouldn't let me pick them. I couldn't pick against my team. I'm not looking for the greatest season from the San Francisco 49ers, but I still went with them. I believe in Colin Kaepernick. I think that Carlos Hyde is going to become a good guy in the backfield for the 49ers. People are putting a lot of stats out there. Basically, the 49ers have won 7 straight Monday Night Football games. Colin Kaepernick has never lost on Monday night. He's 4-0 himself. He has 9 passing touchdowns without an interception. This isn't that 49er team, and we might come out and just flat fall on our face. We were a horrible football team last year. We were lucky to finish 8-8. I don't know. They could come out and surprise us. I saw a lot of heart out there, and we do have a lot of great players still on this team. It's hard to pick against Antoine Bolden. It's hard to pick against a guy like Vernon Davis. But Colin Kaepernick, as experienced as he is rushing for those yards, finished second in the league for quarterback rushing yards. I'm tired of seeing the running quarterback. I want to see him established as a passing quarterback, using the weapons that we have out there, throwing the ball around and getting some yards that way. We stacked this team to be able to pass against teams like St. Louis, Arizona, and the Rams, and I'm not sure that we stack up against those teams. I would honestly, unless one of those teams falls flat on their face, I would pick the Niners to be the worst team in the West. So we can only move up from here to see what the Niners season brings for us. So we'll see. I say we're lucky to finish 8-8. I hope that we can win this game and start it out on the right foot. We just never really got anything going last year. So let's see what we can do. Vikings and 49ers to kick it off. And let's see if we can get a win.